Welcome. We're going to continue, if you haven't already seen part one of the iPhone 14 Pro getting launched and unboxed. We are now moving to the watch. So be sure to watch that one. But we're going to go ahead and move to the Apple Watch 8, Series 8. And as you can see, I have a Series 6. This is something that my son is looking forward to getting. So he's going to get that as I've upgraded to this. So this unboxing is a little bit interesting because it's so weighty. You're like, how does this phone have so much weight? Let's see what's inside. I do like the box. It's that nice classic embossed feel of the Apple symbol here with watch. We'll go ahead and turn this over. I'm going to blur this, of course, but you can kind of see right here these tabs. This has been existing since I think I had the Watch 2. And so these just kind of fold out in this thing. If you were ever to put it back, it would look like this. But you pop it out. I like that snap. That snap still has that open box feel. And this is to nicely reveal inside. It has the color of my watch, which you can see is that dark gray, midnight blue kind of outer casing. It's embossed. At least that's what the picture is. I actually don't remember which one I ordered, but we're about to find out. So we could actually remove that. It actually has two parts. One is for the band, right, that I chose, and that's just that Just Do It blue band, which again, it's kind of a surprise for me just as much as it is for you because I don't remember what I ordered at the time. I tried to be right in line and get it first ordered to me, and now here it is. So again, have to blur that. That has my sensitive information, but we'll go ahead and similar to the phone, it has those peeled off strips on the side. You can hear that shh as you pull it off, right? We'll go ahead and put this off to the side for the moment. And then we'll flip it and you can see and it comes out smooth. Now this itself feels like half the weight of the box. This is a heavy top right here. Boy, nothing wrong with that, I suppose, as long as it gets recycled. Again, has some information, and I'm going to bet there's a sticker. No, I'm wrong. But there's some information about how to charge your watch, how to put on bands. And so that's important information. If you never had one, it works pretty uniquely. I'll show you with this one that I have here in a second. I'll go ahead and just put that, slip that back in later. It has a charger. Of course, the watch has a unique charger. It's a much longer cord, which is fine, nice, especially when you're traveling in hotels. And it has that that outer layer. I think it would want me to fold. This I did not realize. Look at that. Another tab. I just tried to pull and it wouldn't go. Didn't damage anything. Didn't pull that hard. But then it unfolds to this. This is nice. Let me get that nice here in the light. Let's get that shadow out the way. There we go. Look at that. Right? So this slips out of this thing, which is paper, right? You could feel it. I think you could meant to pop it up like that. And then, of course, it's looped around here, which you could either tear if you wanted to, or you can keep it and just slip it out, which I'm doing. Look at that. Very nice. Doesn't feel like there's any sort of peeling around. It kind of looks like there is, but I am missing, which Apple's normally pretty good about, giving you a place to just grab. So I'm going to assume that this is just pretty much right there. There's nothing to peel off. If I discover that later, I'll certainly let you know in the comments below, but that does seem to be the way it is. So that'll be used to charge. Again, USB-C, no block, so you're going to have your own block into USB-C to get that to charge, or if you have one of the various wireless, you could just lay down on that. They're certainly existing. So again, going back to this box, taking out the watch, this is much lighter, in my opinion, than the top, or they're about maybe not much, but certainly it felt lighter. So this box itself right here, that's the majority of the weight, especially compared to this. This one is the lightest and it still has a band inside of it. So there's this nice little paper, I think. Yeah, oops, I'm tearing it. Yeah, so that proves that it's paper that is surrounding the watch. And so you can just push it out from there, and there is the watch. Oh, and it immediately started. It felt like that was a part of the experience. As you push it out of the sleeve, out of this wallet, it immediately launches. So that's pretty cool. Might not be cool if you were waiting to do that, but otherwise it's pretty cool. So now as it started up, first time it has that waiting for you to get a phone next to it. So we'll have to do that for sure. So we'll just come back to that when we have the phone. There's not much we can do with this while we're waiting for the phones to be set up. So we'll come back to that. I'm going to put this to the side though and bring back in our band, our friend here, right? So one of the things you might not know is that you can choose a band like this, and if you know you don't like it, you could just take this back to Apple and it's worth about $50. So you could take this and exchange it for another $50 band. Of course, you could do that within the 14 days. But if you know right away, this is not what I wanted, this is not the color, maybe it was a gift, immediately take just this portion back and say to Apple, you might need a receipt that you want to switch it out for another band. Of course, you can use the value of this to add to a higher price band. So if there's another band that's $100, then this would be 50 out of that 100. So we'll go ahead, looking at it, peeling this back. Again, that nice peel. This one was a little bit thinner plastic and didn't have that tear off like I heard with the paper, which I liked. But there you go, that was that sound. And that's by peeling that off, that actually allows you to get underneath here to peel back this piece of paper, which will let you access the front. And as you can see, a little bit more difficult. So I certainly had the option to just kind of tear in there. But let's speed through this and see how long it takes me. Ah, there's like another piece. Maybe that was supposed to come off together, maybe not sure. So a little bit un-Apple-like to make that as difficult as it was. But you had this little piece of here, and if you don't, a little piece here, not of here. But if you don't have nails, that might be kind of hard to just grab, but you can certainly grab and pull at it here to get this open. And I guess actually, silly me, now that I have torn it, I realized I could have just gotten my fingernail in there and just bent it back. So this is why you have this video, so that when you are going through it, you could do this much smoother and not make the mistakes that I'm making. But we learn from mistakes, so don't be afraid of them. You could now pull this tab out. There we go. That kind of felt smooth. It still had that proper tension. They do a lot of work in that unboxing experience, so that tension was there. Just some general information. I typically don't read these. There may be some value to you, so there's that. And now we can hold this. It's the Nike. I like all sneaker brands, by the way, but I certainly have enough Nike products, and their combination with Apple in this venture has certainly probably provided good value for both. You open it up. This is way more blue than I had imagined. Nothing wrong with that. It just may not be quite what I was thinking about. There were these tabs I kind of pulled in my surprise frustration that that it was so blue. But if I had peeled that off, then this would have came off here and allowed me to release the watch with less force than I did. Again, some other recyclable information that you can read about if that is of interest to you. But at this point, we put that away, and now we have this. Now, in contrast to the red that I have for my old watch, I certainly, red and blue certainly could be firemen and police officers here. It could, red and blue is a contrast for a lot of things. Certainly, when you think of some of the LA gangs, the Bloods and the Crips. So I just like colors, right? Red, blue, gray, yellow, purple, you name it. So I'm not getting into any political statements, but there might be some reasons for you. The way to release this watch is you press and hold your finger in here, and then you slide it away, right? So you press and hold, and you slide it away, and it comes out. And in that same way, I'll put it on this old watch, but in that same way, you would just simply slide until it snapped. And you could hear it snap if I wanted to augment the audio, but I'll try to be quiet for this side. Got to get the angle right. That's something I remember learning the hard way in the past. You got to get that angle right so it's slightly bent down. And then it really takes a lot. Like, it's not going anywhere until you release those buttons. So in contrast, we certainly see that they haven't changed anything from the 6 to the 8. The back seems a bit bigger, which makes sense, but still they have a few more sensors in this one. The overall watch, though, is pretty much the same design. And I see one difference here, which you might be able to zoom in on, is that you have this long kind of speaker versus these two split ones. So that's pretty interesting. But other than that, it's pretty much as you see it. And so the face, this is supposed to be edge to edge, always on. So that's going to be nice. And we'll see that once these phones are set up so I could associate the right watch with the right phone. Okay, so I tried. I didn't want to make any edits, but in the interest of time, cutting between two cameras and just a couple of flubs that would actually send you in the wrong direction, and I don't want to confuse you, I made some edits, but that's for my benefit as well as yours. Okay, now that the watch is complete, it says I could share my watch analytics with Apple. I typically don't share this because I'm just sensitive to data, but every once in a while with Apple, I'm buying into their very secure setup that I feel like if it's going to make the products better, that perhaps I should. And I'll go ahead and say this case to share. I could always turn this off later, but it does, when you click on that, give me an option to verify. Sharing Apple Watch analytics data also means sharing it for iPhone. That's where in the past I haven't done it, but I'll say okay. Again, could always turn this off. Wants to create a passcode. For now, I'm going to say no. Let's not create it. Use passcode is highly recommended. Now, all of a sudden, I do that. I start feeling, maybe these little interruptions to slow me down and have me rethink that choice. Okay, I'll go ahead and create a passcode. Let's go ahead and do it. Create a passcode. I'll add a long one, create a long one. Okay, it verifies my information and wants to know if I'm in a wheelchair. So height, weight, I'm a little bit heavier these days, but I think I can get back down to that weight within a few weeks now that I'm doing intermittent fasting. That is another separate video that we won't go into. There we go. It says it'll track my exercise. It's one of the reasons I have a watch. 620 calories a day. I may adjust this, but for now, I'll just stick with it. I won't change it. I will just keep it that way. And then it seems like it wants me to go back. Next, has the safety information on. Continue. Continue. There we go. It's spinning here in the corner. I got to learn to be more patient with that as I let that happen. We agree to the Apple Pay. All those cards were set up. It needs my Face ID, so I'll go ahead and do that, and we're good to go there. The way this protrudes does feel uncomfortably angled and a little bit odd on this table because it's only lifting up from this back right corner. Now, the majority of the time, I'm not using my phone on a flat surface like this. It's in my pocket, it's in my hand. It may be held in different orientation. It might be on a gimbal that I use sometimes. But for the most part, I think I'll just leave it at that. So this is ready to go. And my battery is going low. As you notice the dip in the lighting, which I can bring up in post so you might not see it. But I'm going to, again, want to expose you to the operation here of how things are done. But it looks like this is done well enough that I can go ahead again. And one of the things I'll say with this particular loop, that once it's closed, you want to make sure that this part is in the place where you want to pull it down and wrap it. So that means this part here is where I want on the top. Again, I could slide in. I always forget that angle, right? So once you get that angle right, it slips in and it locks pretty easily. It's the mistakes that I think we learn a lot in. And there it goes. Very simple. We'll do that later on this card here. Continue again with the safety. We'll come back to the card. Then it says my watch is syncing. So yes, you should plan if you're upgrading your phone, updating your watch. You're going to want to plan for plenty of time to sync. So don't do this when you don't have about 2 hours to get everything set up, just to be safe. Okay, now everything is set up. The watch is fully in sync, and I'm going to go ahead and put that band. That band is much tighter because I didn't have this loosened, so you want to loosen that before you do it. The Just Do It for Nike. You know, overall it feels the same. If there's a weight difference, I'm not necessarily feeling it, so that's good. That takes some time to kind of get used to your arm and know what it's looking for, right? But, you know, much bigger display, I would say. Certainly much brighter as well. So bigger, brighter, more intense is how I would describe the visuals of that. Let's see. I mean, you could see right here the difference, right? That's pretty extreme. I don't know if there's a way to brighten this. Again, this is the Watch Series 6, but very clear. And again, you have the always on display. So this eventually calms down to this outlined muted tone in this particular watch face. And I think if we give it a few moments, we'll see that the old watch, the Series 6, will go ahead and just perhaps disappear. Not sure, but we certainly have the always on display. And so we're waiting. Here you can see another interface, and you can just, again, see that difference here, just in terms of the size, of the brightness. And I believe if I'm still enough, this will eventually calm itself down, go to a much smaller footprint like it did so, and eventually would turn off. So you can see the difference there. So what I thought might be fun is actually put on both watches for a while. So I'm going to loosen this up and put it further down my arm. And I eventually need to turn this in to my son, so I only have a limited amount of time that I can work with this. And I don't know if you noticed that, right? But if you put this in the wrong way, you will just slip through, right? It will not lock. So you have to make sure that with these watch bands that you stick it in the right way with that right angle, it slips in there. This one being used much more, it slips in a little bit easier. There's a little bit of probably coating finish on the newer ones that will keep it from going in as quick and as smooth. And of course, again, as we have been doing, as soon as I say that, I get the angle wrong and it doesn't stay. So here we go. We're going to just wear both watches for a little bit here and just kind of feel the difference. Just gets used to it. You know, the older one certainly has some scratches. But that'll be interesting. I'm going to go for a walk later and compare it. But I mean, just look at that display difference. Especially like with the flowers, right? Look at that display difference, especially. It looks like I was just getting a little bit of a notice to say, do I want to pair the older watch with the new iPhone as well? I went ahead and canceled that because I don't want to do that, but I thought that was an interesting feature. I'm going to have someone call me to see which one. These are both GPS versions, not the one with the cellular, so they wouldn't dial here, but of course when it's paired with the phone, it will. So with that, I wanted to just thank you for joining me on this journey. I hope you learned a lot. You saw me react live in the moment. Overall, I'm happy with the phone, mainly because of the size. It certainly has a much more rich, vibrant look, but you know, there's always going to be a little bit of a push in the nits. That is the light that it emanates. And so those are always going to feel brighter and fresher. It's just almost like a little bit of a trick. Add a few more nits, it seems brighter. Now your old phone looks old and dingy and dull. And so it kind of attracts you to the new one. Not mad at that. That's just kind of basic, the way technology is developed, as I'm sure you know. But I will certainly take some photos and videos, go out and about, and then give some of my reactions after about a week of use. So stay tuned, join the channel, subscribe if you like this video. But the reality is that most of the videos we have are kind of eclectic. We do a lot on leadership. We do a lot of stories. We do a lot of films. So be sure to subscribe to the channel, get notifications, check out what videos we have, be inspired, learn how to do new things, and get some initial reactions to kind of help you make a decision about what you might want to do next. We look forward to talking to you soon. Thank you to Misfit Island for sponsoring this video, and we hope that you continue to learn a lot with the videos that we produce. Again, we'll have plenty of information in the description below, so be sure to read through those. Be sure to subscribe, connect with us. Let's have a conversation back and forth asynchronously in the chat, and I'd love to know your thoughts about what worked about this unboxing video, what didn't work, what did you like compared to some of the other things you may have seen, what didn't you like. This will help us make better content so that we could fulfill your knowledge, information, and entertainment needs. For now, I'll say goodbye and look forward to seeing you again soon.